Hi, I wanted to make a video that was different from my other ones that just gave my raw opinion on crypto and the whole space that I'm entering. I first discovered crypto in about 2013 because I followed someone who was really into crypto and sort of got me on the bandwagon. I think it was about $200 or $300 at the time, and I bought about $200 or $300 of it at the time, which was a lot of money to me. At that point, I was in college and I was working a minimum wage job, and I was struggling a lot financially. And so at some point I decided that I needed that money for something. I vaguely remember, I think I went into the account and I took all my money out, converted it back to US dollars, and then I believe I closed the account. I don't remember like what exchange I signed up on or anything. So that was my first foray, and then I just forgot about it until last year, like May, June, and that's when it sort of popped up onto my radar again. And I think initially I was more interested in the profits, like potentially making money more than, say, if you put your money in a savings account, which is just atrocious these days if you want to do anything with your money. If you want it to not lose value over time, then you certainly can't even just leave it in a savings account. You can't even just hide it under your mattress because inflation and bad government policy and the fact that we kind of have no choice over the monetary system that we use because we have to pay taxes, and that is the primary currency that people tend to use, is the one that they are forced to use. So so I think that that is actually still a big deal for the potential benefits of crypto, is that it changes the relationship between people and their money, and it changes the class of people who have access to make money from what it was in the past due to currently the low barrier to entry. I presume that this will shift over time, and that's normal for institutions or technologies when they first occur to be sort of groundbreaking and game changing, and then eventually the people who were the front runners and pioneers of a different age or a new era, they're the ones who sort of become entrenched. That was the next thing I was going to talk about, even though I got a bit ahead of myself, where for me crypto represents possibility and potential because of the fact that it can transform our information systems, which was the most recent revolution, that of information technology, and how we store our data and how we can use data to create systems that we rely upon, like banking, or if you want to book an airline flight. And I think it will definitely particularly affect the Internet of Things and communication between devices and how reliable that data is. And it's the old human story of freedom, which is something that has probably followed us throughout the ages, of being able to do what one wants when one wants to. And I think you can take that to an extreme where it's bad and the individual is a part of society and no man is an island. But yeah, to me it represents the changing of old institutions, and so a chance to create something new and to create a restructuring or a shift. And I want to point out that I do think that eventually this great thing that we have will become the bad thing that is keeping everyone down because everyone has to rely on it. I know that due to its decentralized nature, this is going to be different from other things in the past, but every technology when it first came along, like for example, if you think about banking, that allowed people to store the value of their labor in a way that they couldn't before, so that they could use it in the future, and to not have to worry about the security of it while, say, they were gone away or something. Banks lending their money, even though people see it as so predatory sometimes, means that people within a society with greater wealth can use their wealth to help drive innovation. For someone who's like starting a small business, for example, they can get a business loan, and that money is technically not coming from the bank, but from the people in society who can securely trust that they can put their money in the bank and not just lend directly to people who they have no idea about them and their credit worthiness in terms of being able to pay back. So they get a return on their investment, but they're also actually helping the economy to grow. I know a lot of people just see the bank banking system as evil, and it can be. But no, these institutions that we have, banking just being one example, serve a purpose, or they would not have become so popular. Think about companies that become monopolies. A lot of them initially, like say for a railroad or telephone lines, they were creating methods of transportation or communication that didn't exist before, that were extremely helpful to the people that started to use them, until it became more of a necessity in our day-to-day lives because of how useful it was. So most of the institutions that we can see as oppressive are helpful, or they were helpful. So crypto is a new way to build these institutions that for now solves a lot of the problems of centralization that we currently have with them. Crypto may have its other issues in the future, but we'll deal with those when they come along. It can transform all of our institutions, and that's why there's a proliferation of so many startups trying to use the technology, because we have so many areas that we rely on. Like I interviewed some guy who was talking about betting and making that automatic so you don't have to trust the person. And I think it's strongest in the commerce and financial areas. That's where we'd see the most early adoption, but this might turn into how our streetlights function and how reliable they are, or how our computers work, how we pass on inheritance and wealth. There are lots of applications that we're probably just not seeing right now, things like that. So yeah, that's why I care about crypto, because you see it. It's like one idea, that being the blockchain and the integrity of data and the reliability of it, and the need to not trust a single centralized institution. One point, and then you just see all the possibilities just spreading out from that. Yeah, so I have high hopes in my chest for it, and I'm gonna talk about the negative effects of it soon, and the things that I don't like about crypto, and that I'm gonna segue into in my next video.